This is the iconic song that most of us grew up on. We heard this every afternoon and took a half an hour to watch this amazing story of creatures that could be caught and be controlled by 10-year-olds. These amazing, fantastical creatures with unbelievable abilities that would create this feeling of exclusivity. Pokemon. Pokemon was all the rage when I was growing up. I used to watch every type of thing that I could. I played every game, the first of them being Red and Blue. Obviously, these are the most iconic of them, the first of them. Black and White on the original Game Boy, they did not run anywhere close to the types of games that we have today, but you were still spirited away. You were watching the story unfold of Red. Thereafter it grew to the Johto League. We were able to see new creatures, new worlds. We were able to choose a new team and go forward in color, which was something new. It grew on to further generations that we played one after the other. We were able to see amazing worlds move over water, over land. We were able to see new towns, new people, see how a story could envelop you, even though at that stage it wasn't really the type of stories that we're used to today, but the story was created in your own mind. We saw fantastic creatures, these unbelievable legendary creatures that would create exclusivity. There would only be one or two of them in a game. You would have to spend time to get them, to fight them. You would have to use a Master Ball or use 100 Ultra Balls to try and catch these creatures. And I'm ashamed to say that at some stage I truly lost track of it. I didn't play Black and White, I didn't play X and Y. I lost out on these amazing stories of Zekrom and the rest of those legendaries. I'd only played them later on in my life when I had already played Sun and Moon and moved on to the higher generations. But what I can say is that throughout this entire journey that I've had with Pokemon ever since I was a little child, that I've seen these games go from one mode to the next and evolve into something more than they were when I was a little child. The thing is that you have to realize that no matter what you connect to Pokemon, that Pokemon is one of those brands that connects to everyone. Everyone has a Pokemon story, and everyone has their own relationship with Pokemon. And I do not think that my relationship with Pokemon is anything special, but I do think that being a grown man and having taken time and moved on in my life to a point where I was beyond these types of games, that I realized when Sun and Moon came out that I wanted to play this story again. I wanted to be involved in it again, and this was, to me, probably one of the greatest stories that there was in the entire Pokemon franchise. I continue to play these games, and I booted it up a while ago, and I must say that going to Alola and traveling the islands truly was a spectacle in and of itself. But then came the next level, the next console, the Switch. And I won't be addressing Pokemon Let's Go or Pokemon Arceus here because they're not mainline games. But at this stage I had seen Pokemon Let's Go move away from what the original games were and the catching mechanics that there were and the gameplay that we all loved. But that is the time when I also realized that it was fun to go back to Kanto and to see what it looked like in this new form, in this new game and on the new hardware. And it was fun to see what the world looked like that I had played in so many years before that. Now, the reason for this video is very simple. I'm asking myself, why do I want to play Pokemon Scarlet and Violet? I've been watching trailers, I've been keeping an eye on all the spoilers, trying not to spoil myself too much, but 105 new Pokemon, of which the day before launch we have no idea of most of them. And this is the first truly open world game. I have played Pokemon almost faithfully since 2016, and in fact I've spent a lot of hours and traveled a lot of kilometers trying to build up the Pokédex that I truly want. I've got a lot of shinies because at this stage I'm of opinion the Pokemon Go franchise is the easiest way to get shinies, and obviously it is compatible with Pokemon Home. So I wasn't hyped at all for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, not at all, because I was of opinion that we had reached basically what we wanted in Pokemon Legends Arceus. But when I heard that Pokemon Scarlet and Violet would not return to the open world catching mechanic, I thought, oh my goodness, why would they do this? And then they also informed us that there is a terrestrializing mechanic, which is a gimmick like the Gigantamaxing, and it did not look good. Over the last 2 weeks I've been keeping a very close eye on everything Pokemon, trying to decide whether or not I want to buy this game, whether I think it's worth the amount of money that they're going to ask us and eventually ask us for DLC. And then I realized I bought a Switch just before Pokemon Shield and Sword came out, and the purpose of that was just to play Pokemon Sword and Shield. Since then I've played Legends Arceus, which was a great game, except for the extraordinary amount of grinding involved trying to get the Pokédex filled up. And it made me realize that I do not buy Pokemon games like other games for the story. I do not buy Pokemon games for the gameplay. I buy it for the experience of seeing what new Pokemon there are, seeing what new legendaries there are, and how they weave them together. When the gameplay started coming out, and the privileged few who had previews informed us that there was a severe lack of polish on this game, I came to realize that I do not buy these games for the polish. It is solely there to try and recapture the level of nostalgia that I had for this series when I was a child, and that I've had throughout. I'm very thankful that these games are coming out, because in the last 2 weeks I've started playing Pokemon Go again and realized that there was almost a whole new game with fighting Team Rocket, Go, and how the legendaries in that game work at the moment. It made me realize that the joy of catching a new Pokemon is still there, and that is the reason why we buy these games. And that is the reason why I think I need to be open and candid regarding the fact that the only reason I'll be buying these games is to see what there is that is new. The gameplay does not look fun, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of polish involved, and the storyline will be mediocre, as are most of the Pokemon games. But the experience of playing it, that is the reason why I'll buy it. So in short, the decision is just that no matter what Game Freak does, and the Pokemon Company does, they need to take my money, because I'll continue buying these games, because they were able to rope me in when I was very young with Pokemon cards and Pokemon movies, and they continue to do so. And I am hopeful that we will end up being in a position where one day we won't be held ransom by Game Freak, but be able to have a Pokemon game that delivers the open world that I truly want. So yeah, until then, Game Freak, just take my money.